Your Excellencies, at this point, I would like to hand over to the Chair of Igad, the Minister of Labor of the Republic of Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you. Firstly, I call Lucy from Secretariat of Igad to present the declaration.
Fatia wants it. Let me. The Igad Secretariat will read the declaration in English on the screens. Excellencies, and honorable ministers, distinguished guests and delegates of Igad member states, this is the Djibouti Declaration on Labor, Employment, and Labor Migration in the Igad region, declared on 21st of October 2021 in Djibouti City, Republic of Djibouti. In the preamble, we, the Ministers of Labor and Employment of the member states of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, namely the Republic of Djibouti, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Republic of Kenya, Federal Republic of Somalia, Republic of South Sudan, Republic of Sudan, and Republic of Uganda, held the first Ministerial Conference on Labor, Employment, and Labor Migration on 21st October 2021 in Djibouti City, Republic of Djibouti. The Ministerial Conference was presided over by His Excellency Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, Prime Minister of the Republic of Djibouti, in the presence of His Excellency Dr. Workene Gebeyehu, the Executive Secretary of Igad, His Excellency Alexio Musindo, the ILO Country Office Director for Ethiopia, Djibouti, Sudan, South Sudan, and Somalia, and Special Representative to the AU and ECA. Her Excellency Amira El Fadil Mohammed El Fadil, AU Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs, and Social Development, His Excellency Ambassador Aidan O'Hara, EU Ambassador to the Republic of Djibouti, and Igad, with representatives of development partners, EU, IOM, UN Migration, CEDA, GIZ, and ILO, representatives of employer organizations in Igad, CIE, and representatives of trade unions in Igad, HACTU. The Ministerial Conference was held to deliberate on effective actions and regional coordination mechanisms to enhance the governance of labor, employment, and labor migration in Igad region, namely the Igad Ministerial Committee on Labor, Employment and Labor Migration, and the Igad Bilateral Labor Agreements Regional Guidelines. Recalling, Excellencies, the provision of Article 7B of the Agreement establishing Igad 1996, requiring member states to harmonize their legal frameworks, policies, and programs on free movement of persons in the Igad region, including the free movement of labor. The provisions of Article 9 and Article 10 of the Igad Protocol on Free Movement of Persons in Igad region, adopted by the 72nd session of the Igad Council of Ministers of Foreign Affairs in June 2021, the AU Declaration and Plan of Action on Employment and Poverty Elevation 2004 and its follow-up mechanism, notably the AU Ouagadougou +10 Declaration and Plan of Action on Employment, Poverty Eradication and Inclusive Development in Africa, the AU Protocol on Free Movement of Persons, Right of Residence, and Right of Establishment, the revised AU Migration Policy Framework and Plan of Action 2018-2030, the Igad Regional Migration Policy Framework, and the AU Guidelines on Developing Bilateral Labor Agreements 2021. Further citing the commitment of Igad member states to ILO resolutions, including the International Labour Organization's Centenary Declaration for the Future of Work, adopted in 2019, call to action for human-centered recovery from the COVID-19 crisis that is inclusive, sustainable, and resilient, adopted at the 110th session of the International Labour Conference, further citing the Abidjan Declaration, Advancing Social Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, 2019. Reaffirming our commitment to the implementation of Article 13A of the agreement establishing Igad that has identified a number of key areas of cooperation that require instruments in pursuit of regional peace, security, and economic integration, reaffirming also our commitment to the Protocol on Free Movement of Persons in the region that was adopted by the 72nd session of Igad Council of Ministers of Foreign Affairs. Considering the outcomes of extensive consultations conducted by the Igad member states with technical assistance from ILO on the Igad regional guidelines on the rights-based bilateral labor agreements and the formation of the Igad Ministerial Committee on Labor, Employment, and Labor Migration. Noting with concern high composition of a youthful population, the high levels of poverty, unemployment, and employment, especially amongst the youth, growing informal economy, and predominantly a rural-based economy in the region, the cyclical nature of conflicts in the region, resulting, among others, from limited opportunities for economic livelihoods, leading to forced internal mass displacements, regional and global migration. The inadequate capacities of Igad member states' labor market institutions for effective labor, employment, and labor migration governance, and ensure compliance to the ILO international labor standards. Noting that labor markets are struggling to absorb the large number of new entrants to the labor force each year, while contending with structural difficulties in creating decent employment opportunities in the Igad region, the adverse impact of COVID-19 pandemic on member states' economies, their labor markets, and migrant workers. Also noting the high volume of irregular migrants within and outside the Igad region with limited protection mechanism in countries of transit and countries of destination. Finally, noting the protection vacuum of migrant workers in countries of transit and destination. Welcoming the leadership role of Igad in prioritizing labor, employment, and labor migration governance within its regional development agenda, anchored on ILO international labor standards, and further welcoming international, regional, and national development partnerships to address the critical concerns of labor, employment, and labor migration. appreciating the initiative of the government of the Republic of Djibouti to organize and host this first ministerial conference on labor employment and labor migration in Igad region. Madam Chair, now we hereby decide to, number one, establish the Igad Ministerial Committee on Labor, Employment, and Labor Migration. Number two, adopt the terms of reference and standard operating procedures for the Igad Ministerial Committee on Labor, Employment, and Labor Migration. Adopt the Igad regional guidelines on rights-based bilateral labor agreements. And number four, develop a plan of action to implement this Djibouti Declaration on Labor Employment and Labor Migration 2021 with clear monitoring and reporting mechanism. Excellency Chair, we further commit to advance the following thematic actions. On labor and employment policy guidelines, develop a coherent Igad labor and employment policy framework in line with Article 9 and Article 10 of the Igad Protocol on free movement of persons, providing therefore policy guidance to member states in the development and implementation of their national policies on labor and employment. Develop, review, and amend national policies and legislation, the African Union, Igad protocols on free movement of persons, and other regional, continental, and international instruments adopted by Igad member states. Develop regional and national labor market information systems and establish Igad Labor Market Observatory to monitor labor market trends, inform policy and action at national and regional levels. Proactively mainstream employment indicators into member states' national development plans, NDPs, and budgets, including efficient monitoring system. Support the development of and implementation of the Igad Youth Skilling and Employment Initiative for the region, YESI, aligning it to the Igad Youth Policy Framework. Develop an integrated regional framework for the transition from informal to formal economy, promoting protection of workers and productivity of workers. Formulate the Igad regional policy to address the impact of natural disasters and climate change on member states' economies. And promote cooperation and exchange of experiences with other regional economic communities at regional, continental, and international levels. On the ratification and domestication of ILO international labor standards, Madam Chair, continue promoting the ratification and implementation of the 8 ILO fundamental conventions on labor, employment, and labor migration, and periodically consider, in consultation with employers and workers, organizations, the ratification of other ILO international labor standards through dedicated Igad campaigns. Ensure compliance to ILO reporting mechanism on ratified and unratified conventions pursuant to Articles 19 and 22 of the ILO Constitution. On the rights of migrant workers within the region and in countries of destination, promote the ratification and implementation of the AU Protocol on Free Movement of Persons 2018 and the Igad Protocol on Free Movement of Persons 2021 adopted by the Igad Council of Ministers. Facilitate the ratification and domestication of relevant international ILO conventions on the rights of migrants, including migrant workers and members of their families as well. Implement the 23 objectives of the Global Compact on Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration 2018. Institute, whenever relevant, labor supervisory mechanisms of the situation of migrant workers in countries of destination, including the process of their recruitment, placement, working conditions, return, and reintegration. Develop a common position on bilateral labor agreements among Igad member states, and engage migrant workers and social partners in the design and implementation of national development plans to enhance the migration development nexus. On promotion of social dialogue, Your Excellency Chair, continue to recognize social dialogue and tripartism within Igad region in line with ILO Convention 144 on tripartite consultations. Support ILO, Igad, and development partners' efforts to strengthen the capacity of national and regional employers and workers' organizations in relation to labor, employment, and labor migration issues. Promote the regional exchange between national employers and workers' organizations through their respective regional organizations, namely the Confederation of Igad Employers and the Horn of Africa Confederation of Trade Unions. Your Excellency, ensure principles of tripartism and social dialogue are followed at all levels of policy and decision-making. And finally, promote alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. On promotion and extension of social protection to all, including workers in the informal economy, develop effective and comprehensive actions to achieve transition from informal to formal economies. Work towards the extension of coverage, availability, and access to social protection for all workers, including migrant workers, those in rural areas and informal economies. Address issues of social protection in conflict and climate change affected areas to bridge efforts in the humanitarian and development spheres. Develop Igad regional and national mechanisms for the portability of social security rights and benefits, including bilateral and or multilateral social security agreements. Promote occupational health and safety for all workers in Igad member states, and implement the Igad social protection strategy. Your Excellency, Madam Chair, on promotion of gender equality and equity, strengthen Igad member states' processes of assessing the implications for women and men of any planned action, including legislation, policies, and programs on labor, employment, and labor migration in line with the Igad gender policy framework. Formulate and implement the Igad gender mainstreaming framework on labor, employment, and labor migration. And lastly, promote equality among indigenous and marginalized communities and persons with disabilities. Your Excellency, Madam Chair, on regional coordination, partnerships, and financing, we hereby task the Igad Secretariat to develop the plan of action for the implementation of this declaration, to follow up on the implementation of the action plan of this declaration, and to mobilize resources and partnerships for the implementation of this declaration. To call on the international community, private sector, and development partners to support financially and technically the implementation of this declaration and its action plan. To support the dissemination of this Igad Ministerial Declaration on Labor, Employment, and Labor Migration to the public sector, private sector, social partners, national and international stakeholders. Appreciate the people and the government of the Republic of Djibouti for hosting this first ministerial conference on labor, employment, and labor migration, and decide to remain actively seized on this matter. Your Excellency, what follows is the honorable ministers who are present in the room, except for the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. I thank you.
Thank you, Madam Lucy. Now the platform for the ministers. If there are any comments for the declaration. I think no comment from the ministers. Okay, we can go now. Okay.
Honorable Chair.
It's about the Kenya.
Honorable Chair, we thank you for the discussions and presentations and recommendations by the team of experts that have put in a lot of work since 2 days.
Please raise up your voice. We cannot hear you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I want to thank the presentation and recommendation by the experts who have put in a lot of work in the last 2 days. Chair, we had made a request to the Secretariat in a form of, in writing about 2 weeks ago, and we were asking the forum to also take cognizance of work and the efforts that have been put in place earlier before, so that we don't duplicate or create parallel arrangements, and acknowledge in our resolutions so that we ride on progress that we've made. And we thought we were going to make a case in our official speech on the actions that we had taken in that initiative that brought in 11 countries. Some of them are not members of Igad. So I don't know how we're going to deal with this, because that may create a kind of an overlap on the resolutions we had made earlier. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, the Minister of Kenya. I think this is initiative from Igad initiative and your initiative for 11 countries. I hope that we can elaborate with 2 initiatives. No problem. I think we can cooperate with 2 initiatives without make any problems for any initiative of it, because this is for Igad and this is for 11 countries, most of them out of Igad.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Excellency Minister of Labor, Kenya. Thank you for your question. And yes, I really fully recognize, Your Excellency, your concern on this issue. And as you remember, we discussed this point through telephone before a while. And also, as you know, Your Excellency, this is an organization of 8 member states. So this is an organizational initiative. We know that we are not an island, of course. We have to cooperate with other sisterly countries which are our neighbor. So this is definitely, Your Excellency, it's not a parallel initiative. This is one of our founding fathers of Igad and our heads of states and governments decided in the area of labor movement that Igad Secretariat and member states should work together. So in line with that point and the treaty which is signed by our member states, Your Excellency, we came up to bring together our member states. This is our legal obligation. This is also, as we were deliberating this morning, a very important thing that we should work together. So, if that the initiative of 11 countries in which we can synchronize some of the issues, Your Excellency, we can make it, we can collaborate, cooperate together, and we will try to avoid any duplication of efforts, Your Excellency. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, the Secretariat of Igad. Is there any comment from the ministers? Okay. Kana, you said that we are agree for the declaration. Now we can go for the statements of the ministers. First of all, the Honorable Usman Ibrahim Rabi, Minister of Labor in charge of formalization and social protection, Republic of Djibouti. Welcome, the Minister, for your statement about Djibouti.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Merci Madame la Présidente, Excellence Madame la Présidente. Je voudrais, par rapport à la déclaration que nous avons analysée et examinée en Conseil des ministres et en Conseil d'experts, eu égard à notre politique nationale de l'emploi, partenariale et inclusive, nous nous retrouvons dans cette déclaration. Les objectifs, les commentaires, les résolutions sont justifiés. La déclaration, la description plutôt de l'environnement du travail contenu dans le document nous semble valide. Il est très certainement intéressant de voir dans ce document comment dirais-je, un traitement particulier dans la ratification de conventions et surtout dans la promotion du tripartisme et du dialogue social. Nous le recevons très bien. Pareil également pour la protection sociale et les accords bilatéraux de travail avec les pays membres de l'Igad. Nous pensons que réguler n'est pas un vain mot et que la régulation du travail est très importante. Et en conclusion, je voudrais, au nom du gouvernement de Djibouti, engager notre pays dans cette dynamique pour une promotion du travail décent au niveau des pays de la région. Je vous remercie.
Now, the representative of the Minister of Labor and Skills, Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia.
Thank you. Excellency Minister of Labor and Employment of the Member States of Igad, Your Excellency Dr. Orkana Gabayo, Executive Secretary of Igad, distinguished guests, all protocol observed. For the honest, I would like to thank you, the Republic of Djibouti, for its generous hosting of this conference. And also I would like to extend my warmest appreciation to Igad Secretariat for organizing this very important meeting on labor, employment and labor migration. Similarly, I want to congratulate the technical team of the member state of Igad for the conducting fruitful deliberation on the preceding 2 days. Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, as a member state of Igad, our country have several common interests on challenge that must be addressed at regional level in addition to our national efforts. I believe that challenges related to labor, employment, and labor migration are some of the fundamental issues on which our member states need to jointly work together. Hence, Igad initiative to create regional approach to tackle our common economy in those areas is highly commendable. Indeed, each member state of Igad has its own national policy and strategy on labor migration. However, to improve the situation of labor and migrant workers, it is necessary to have regionally harmonized policy and guidelines to enhance the working condition for our overseas migrant workers. In this regard, the guidelines on the bilateral labor agreement drafted by the Secretariat of Igad for utilization by its member state is a setup in the right direction. Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, my country Ethiopia has endeavored to introduce comprehensive labor migration policy, efficient, effective institutional setup of the labor governance, as well as to ensure a strong cooperation with the labor destination countries through bilateral labor agreement with the objective of protecting the right of its migrant workers. Furthermore, to resolve the challenge of labor migration and the youth unemployment, it is crucial to develop participatory national development program and the strategies across multiple sectors. In this regard, with the objective of creating job opportunity, Ethiopia has been implementing economic strategies that focuses on development of industrial parks, agricultural production, projects in the formation of small-scale business enterprises. Without doubt, a strong collaboration on this matter within the Igad framework would greatly contribute to the national efforts. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, while once again commending the significant achievement made by Igad in organizing this important meeting, I would like to underscore the necessity of ensuring the continuity of our engagement on this protection of this right of migrant workers. In addition, it is equally important to further strengthen our collaboration to upscale the national effort of eradicating the underlying causes of unemployment and migration. I thank you.
Thank you. Now, Honorable Simon Chiligoi, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Labor, Republic of Kenya.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, fellow ministers in charge of labor migration within East and Horn of Africa region, the Igad Executive Director, His Excellency Dr. Wargane Kabeheu, UN Resident Coordinator in Djibouti, Mr. Eric Jan Overhurst, ILO Assistant Director General and Regional Director for Africa, Ms. Cynthia Samuel, AAUC Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development, EU Ambassador, Republic of Sudan, Igad Chair, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good afternoon, rather. I'm delighted to join you all for this Igad Ministerial Labor Conference here in Djibouti to deliberate on improving regional collaboration on labor, employment, and labor migration, and build consensus towards regional approach on rights labor agreement. Honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya aspires to acquire middle-income country status, offering quality of life as envisaged in Kenya's Vision 2030. Attainment of this aspiration is, however, hinged on countries' ability to create sustainable employment and livelihood for our people. Kenya's economically active population is 22.3 million, with a youth population amounting to 75.1%, or rather 35.7 million. While close to 1.2 million Kenyan youth join the labor market every year, our economy was only able to accommodate 800,000 young people before the onset of COVID-19 pandemic. Realizing that youth unemployment is a regional problem, Kenya is currently carrying out assessment of employment opportunities in existing and potential labor markets, especially for the skilled and professional cadres. This is born out of the realization that opportunities for workers and abroad can reduce pressure on our respective domestic labor markets. Ladies and gentlemen, labor migration has immense socio-economic benefits to both countries of origin and destination. It is a source of employment and livelihoods for migrant workers. It addresses skills gaps in destination countries and brings in the much-needed remittances to migrant countries of origin. It is also one of the main avenues for technology and skills transfer between countries. Kenya, as Igad member state, is not only a country of origin, but also transit and destination. Currently, there are 4 million Kenyans abroad, working abroad and in diaspora, with 92,000 in the Igad region and 152,700 within the East African community. Diaspora remittances from all Kenyans in diaspora for the year 2020 was US dollars 3.09 billion, out of which EAC country states contributed US dollars 41,308,000, with Igad contributing 16.6 million US dollars. This demonstrates the benefits of safe, regular, and humane labor migration to Kenya, and by extension, in our region. Despite the benefits of labor migration, there are some challenges that continue to erode the gains that would have been realized in this sector. These include infringement of migrant rights, trafficking in persons, smuggling of persons and child labor, forced returns and inadequate return and reintegration framework, high cost of remittances, gender segregation, restrictions of freedom of expression and movement, particularly in some countries in Middle East, just to mention but a few. In realization of these benefits and challenges, Kenya hosted ministers of labor from 11 countries in January 2020, representing East African Community and the Horn of Africa region, which included Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, South Sudan, Somalia, Rwanda, Burundi, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Sudan, and Eritrea. The meeting was supported by IOM, ILO, and was also attended by AU, EAC, and Igad countries. A communique and call to action priorities was signed, establishing the Regional Ministerial Forum on Migration and Harmonization of Labor Migration Policies in East and Horn of Africa, a united approach on safe, regular, and humane labor migration, RMFM. The communique endorsed the importance of common and coordinated approach in regulation and enforcement of migration, regional cooperation, strategic approach to labor migration governance and policy, and response to protection needs of migrant workers and members of their families, addressing their social, economic, labor, and human rights, with particular attention to women and youth. In specific, the communique identified the following key objectives. 1, coordinate coordinated approaches on regional cooperation for effective labor migration governance and policy. 2, regulation and enforcement of regional common approaches to bilateral labor migration agreements, which would govern and facilitate safe, orderly, regular, and ethical labor migration in order to address protection of migrant workers, rights within and outside East and Horn of Africa. Number 3 is establishment of institutional mechanism to support and facilitate labor mobility. Number 4 is establishing and reinforcing existing labor market information system, which Kenya already is almost 50% in developing labor migration information system. Identify labor market needs for migrant workers and strengthen the capacity of labor market institution, which again is work in progress within our country. We are carrying out survey of the labor market opportunities across the globe and looking at skills available within our country and within our region. Identify and evaluate existing capacity and training needs of the area of labor market statistics, data collection, and management. And number 7 is enhance interstate, intra, and inter-regional cooperation for implementation of joint labor migration program. And finally, support the overall strengthening of social security and welfare in order to extend social security migrant workers. Towards the implementation of these objectives of the Regional Ministerial Forum, we have so far held 2 regional ministerial forum meetings, both physical and virtual. 3 technical advisory committees chaired by permanent secretaries, principal secretaries, under-secretaries, both physical and virtual. Number 3, development and adoption of operating modalities, roadmap on implementation of Regional Ministerial Forum objectives and terms of reference for the Technical Advisory Committee. And each country has established a National Technical Advisory Committee, which is chaired by the Permanent Secretary, Principal Secretary, and Under-Secretaries and Directors in ministries responsible for labor and migration. According to the operating modalities, Igad and EAC partners with IOM as the Regional Secretariat for RMFF in supporting member states on the implementation of Communique and Call to Action priorities and RMFM draft roadmap. We've held 2 consultative meetings with ambassadors of the Gulf Cooperation Council of Ministers. And I can tell you, Chair, we've made progress. 3 countries in the Middle East we have had challenges with our workers being abused, sometimes denial of travel documents and denial of the freedom to change employers. Majority of them have actually withdrawn the kafala system. Majority of them have actually adapted our robust labor laws so that there is equal pay for equal work. There is no discrimination in terms of pay, and we feel that this is the progress that we are making, and all of us would like to align our member states to this progress. Honorable Chair, the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us the need to be proactive in protection of migrant workers. And to this end, Kenya is working towards establishment of the Kenya Migrant Workers Welfare Fund that will provide migrant workers with the necessary social protection for improved well-being. And I want to thank IOM for this support. The lack of portability of social security benefits within the Igad member states for our migrant workers both robs them the potential benefits of employment in foreign countries and undermines the gains of migration. And for example, Chair, if we have workers from Kenya in South Sudan and they contribute their social security fund, we would like to see portability of that contribution to those migrant workers when they leave. If they are working in Djibouti, we are looking forward to an arrangement that enables portability of migrant workers' contribution to National Social Security Fund when their term of duty ends. It is therefore my hope that Igad will develop a mechanism to ensure that migrant workers benefit from these savings. Migration can be a positive force for development when supported by the right set of policies, such as bilateral labor migration agreements between countries of origin and countries of destination. The studies have shown that there are substantive alignment gaps between existing BLAs and international standards, especially with the respect of adequacy of social protection available to migrant workers. To address this, Kenya has already adopted the model rights-based bilateral labor agreements guidelines by Igad. So in this respect, Honorable Chair, it is our hope as members that ultimately we approach our destination market as a region so that the bilateral agreement signed by Uganda or Kenya or Sudan is one, and that the destination market will not have an advantage or take advantage of another country within our region by trying to deny the country that has signed opportunity and shifting to another country, moving the same challenge to that particular country. We must be brothers keepers, we must be sisters keepers. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to take this opportunity to thank the ILO and Igad Secretariat for organizing this timely regional consultative forum with my fellow ministers responsible for labor and employment of Igad member states to discuss challenges, opportunities, and devise strategies to promote decent and productive work opportunities for our people. I wish to propose that as a region, we consider possibility of sharing honorary consul services in key labor destination countries to improve provision of necessary consular assistance and protection of social, economic, labor, and human rights of our migrant workers. I look forward to a situation where through Igad, Ethiopia and Kenya can share consular services so that if any member of South Sudan in foreign country is under distress, can approach our consular service for support and assistance. Let us be our brother's keeper. I look forward that when we build safe homes, we can jointly contribute and support those safe homes so that our people do not remain destitute or abandoned in those foreign countries. Similarly, I wish to encourage all member countries to promote ethical recruitment of migrant workers according to international standards and principles of international migration law. Kenya has already established an oversight community feedback mechanism for recruitment of recruitment industry. We have over 400 recruitment agencies, and we have established an authority because we have 4 million Kenyans, approximately slightly below 10% of our population, and we must give that a due consideration in terms of budget. We have 420 agencies involved in recruitment. They are vetted every year, and they continuously comply to the regulatory framework. It is my hope that all our regional members equally create similar authorities and agencies that are involved, they are trained in ethical recruitment of their labor. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my hope that this consultative forum will provide us with the opportunity to openly discuss issues, collectively identify strategies, and mutually agree on unified approach for harnessing opportunities and managing challenges to promote safe and orderly labor migration. Such regional forums, if sustained, can enable Igad member states to consistently deliberate on key issues of concern in labor markets and labor migration, and take common positions in international fora, such as International Labor Conference and AU Specialized Technical Committees on Labor and Employment. It is important to take note that there is a scramble for labor in Africa, and the earlier we unite and come up with a joint approach to destination countries where our skills are required. In America, in Europe, the Brexit is an opportunity for the African worker. The opportunities in Middle East and also Asia is a great opportunity for us. We must organize ourselves, prepare our people in skilling and reskilling so that we can take advantage of the opportunities before us across the globe. In conclusion, I wish to call upon all of us to strengthen partnership and enhance regional cooperation in addressing labor employment challenges in the region and build consensus towards a regional approach on bilateral labor agreements, drawing on Igad regional guidelines on the rights-based BLAs. Thank you, Honorable Madam Chair, honorable colleagues, for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, the Minister, for the good ideas. Now we can represent Honorable Abdul Wahab. The Minister of Labor and Social Affairs, Republic of Somalia.
Thank you, Chair. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. His Excellent Isman Ibrahim Roble, His Excellency Executive Secretary of Igad, Ministers, Excellencies, Igad representatives, AAU, EU, ILO, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank the people and the government of Djibouti for hosting this important conference. I am also grateful to technical team of expert hard work in the last 2 days, which has laid the groundwork for two-day meeting. I am pleased to join this important consultation conference on employment, labor, and labor migration for the region, and I believe it will enhance cooperation of labor, migration, and the protection of Igad migrant workers' rights. It will also become an avenue for the transfer of skills and technology between our countries, and I believe this conference is relevant and has been long overdue. As we know, every country dealing with employment is supposed to realize Goal 8, which is decent work and economic growth. In this 17 global sustainable development goals in which every country is expected to achieve it at the end of 2030. The Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs of Somalia has developed the National Employment Policy, and the government of Somalia is committed to place employment at the center of its development agenda. The Ministry of Labor of Somalia had established labor migration policy in 2020, which has been endorsed by the Cabinet. I believe we can resolve the issues of employment and labor migration by creating comprehensive strategy and policies which can reduce poverty, create opportunity, and better livelihood. I will conclude by thanking the organizers and supporters of the conference, as well as the chairperson. Excellencies, distinguished guests, your contribution by being at this conference is appreciated. Thank you for your attention.
Now, Honorable General James Hoth May, Minister of Labor, Republic of South Sudan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister of Labor, Republic of Sudan, Honorable Minister of Labor in charge of formalization and social protection, Republic of Djibouti, Executive Secretary of Igad, my colleague, Honorable Ministers, Regional Director of ILO, AU Commissioner of Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development, Ambassador of AU and Igad, dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of my country, Republic of South Sudan, and on my behalf and behalf of my delegations, I want to register our sincere gratitude to the government and the people of Djibouti for the warm welcome accorded to me and my delegation. We brought greetings from my president and people of South Sudan to the people of Djibouti, and we tell them that South Sudan is with you always. In the same note, I would want to appreciate and congratulate the Igad leadership and the Secretariat for organizing this very important conference. And also, I want to appreciate our partners for supporting our regions whenever we need their help. I also give a very special thanks to the Minister of Labor of Djibouti for taking time with their meager resources to organize this important conference for us to discuss as Minister of Labor in the region policies on common approach to right-based approach to the bilateral agreement to give maximum protection to our migrant workers within the region and beyond. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, we have one of the disorganized migrant workers movement in our region because of conflict that have engulfed the region either within a country or between countries. Unless we cool down political dust, the control of migrant workers would become a nightmare due to the continued influx of refugees. Nevertheless, through organization of labor administration, including the migrants, we would actually reduce our political issues, because some of the issues in our region is poverty. So if we really organize our region to be very rich and our people get work, and this will reduce actually our political issues. Madam Chair, South Sudan hosts thousands of migrants, workers in all sectors of our economy, being informal or formal. They are not organized. Some come to South Sudan as refugees, and some as individuals looking for opportunities. Ministry of Interior and Labor are working to have full registration of those migrants. For the protection of workers, being national or migrants, the Ministry of Labor in the Republic of South Sudan is working on policies governing minimum wage, occupational safety and health, and employment, among other policies. We are also carrying out labor market assessment to know exactly the number of migrant workers in the country. Madam Chair, South Sudan is the newest country in our region, and seeing we are starting everything from scratch, we really need a support to put in all the policies that govern the labor administration. And we want actually to support some of the countries so that we come to the one level. Otherwise, if we are not in the same lands, then we will have a problem implementing our policies. So we need to help the countries who are really behind and they don't have policies. South Sudan is one of them. We need really support to put all policies in its place. We have in the region challenges common to all of us, which make this conference a unique to address them. And we are really very happy to convene this conference so that we resolve some of our issues. We have labor migrants, workers within the region and beyond. And our people are facing a lot of problems, especially when we send them into Gulf. So it is very important that we put very concrete policies where we can have full protection our people working outside of the region. But each country should have and to develop policies, and each country also have to sign bilateral agreement, whether within the region or with Gulf countries, where our major workforce migrant work. And I would suggest also, wherever we don't have, or you don't have an embassy in that country, I think one of the our region countries will have an embassy can actually check our migrants, and actually we need to really be very, very specific, because we send people outside, they are diverted, are sent into some also training outside, and we don't know. So we need to check, actually, wherever they are, every time we need to check them whether they are working or not. Madam Chair, in conclusion, we want to reiterate to the Republic of South Sudan our commitment to work closely with the Igad, our region, and to work with the ILO to make sure that we implement all our policies. And we urge also the Secretariat, Igad Secretariat, to make sure that we implement some of these policies that we are passing today. I want to thank again Minister of Labor of Djibouti for hosting this important conference. And also I would like to thank our expert. And this is the beauty actually of having expert. So for us, we the ministers, we don't sleep. They have 2 days sleepless, working day and night, and now we are actually approving their hard work in only 30 minutes. So this is the beauty of having an expert. So congratulations, and you go on with excellent work. We are with you, and we will support you wherever you will be. And again, thank you our media, thank you the hotel management here who are taking care of us, and we are looking forward a good work in our region and trying to make our region a peaceful region, a region where everybody wants to work with. I thank you, Madam.
Thank you, the Minister of South Sudan. And now we can present Honorable Okelu Ngola Charles Mogadidu, Minister of State for Labor, Employment and Ministerial Relations, Republic of Uganda.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, officials of Igad, the officials of European Union, my colleague ministers, Your Excellencies, distinguished, my wonderful technical team, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you greetings from the Pulse of Africa, Uganda. It's my pleasure to address you all invited guests to this Igad Ministerial Conference on labor, employment, and labor migration. On behalf of the government of the Republic of Uganda, I take this opportunity to thank the government of Djibouti for the warm hospitality and for hosting this important meeting. Thank you very much. In the same vein, I thank Igad Secretariat, HILO, and the European Union for organizing this meeting. I thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, labor employment and labor migration are key factors we need to consider in the strategies of human development, i.e. development that is economically, socially, and ecologically sustainable, and that enlarges the range of people's choices by increasing their opportunities for education, income, and employment. While providing employment at home to all the youth would be the ideal and is a priority for government, this is practically impossible in a developing country. As a result of the increasing numbers of Ugandans seeking employment abroad, in 2005, the government of Uganda, through the Ministry of Gender, Labor, and Social Development, embraced the externalization of labor program with two objectives. One objective was to create a safe, formal, and regular pathway for Ugandans who chose to seek employment abroad. The second objective was to establish a short-term window for addressing the unemployment challenge in the country. To date, Uganda has signed two bilateral labor the Hashemi Kingdom of Jordan and United Arab Emirates, respectively. However, the bilateral agreement with Jordan was suspended because there are claims of widespread violation of rights of Ugandan migrant workers. In addition, the bilateral labor agreement with the United Arab Emirates is not yet operational. Indeed, the suspension of the bilateral agreement with Jordan demonstrates the firm commitment of the government of Uganda to ensure rights-based approach to labor migration and its vigilance in the protection of Ugandan migrant workers in the receiving countries. The Ugandan government has recently taken some measures to ensure the protection of Ugandan migrant workers abroad. This includes revision of the law governing externalization of labor, deployment of the online system for management of external employment, posting of two labor taxis to Saudi Arabia, one to United Arab Emirates and one to Qatar, deployment of an online mobile application for monitoring distressed workers abroad, negotiations of bilateral labor agreements with other major destination countries like Turkey, Oman, Bahrain, and Kuwait. The government of the Republic of Uganda warmly welcomes the initiative by Igad Secretariat to form an Igad Ministerial Committee on Labor, Employment, and Labor Migration. Uganda has for long advocated for a common approach to challenges of labor, employment, and labor migration at East African Community, Igad, and African Union levels. The formation of the Igad Ministerial Committee on Employment, Labor, and Labor Migration is therefore timely and will go a long way to foster harmonized labor, migration, and employment policy frameworks among member states. Uganda is in support of a collaborative approach in the following areas. 1, developing a regional academic qualifications framework to harmonize certification, accreditation, and mutual recognition of qualifications within the region. This will promote skills development and facilitate the transfer of skills within the region. Negotiate and conclude a region-wide framework on social security and protection, which should address issues portability within the region. Number 3, harmonize immigration policies in general and labor laws in particular. Research and information sharing, regional labor agreement negotiations and implementation alongside consular services. In conclusion, Madam Chair, I assure the Igad Secretariat and member states of Uganda's commitment in ensuring that the objectives of the Igad Ministerial Committee on Labor Employment and Labor Migration are achieved. I thank the technical team in the work well done. Thank you very much. I thank you for listening. I thank Djibouti for warmly hosting us here, and we shall come back again once more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the Minister. Finally, please let me to present myself to present the statement of Sudan. شكرا جزيلا لحسن استماعكم الحضور الكريم. اسمحوا لي إخوة الوزراء والحضور الكريم أن أقدم بيان جمهورية السودان. لقد ورثت حكومة السودان الانتقالية وضعا سياسيا واقتصاديا مليئا بالتحديات، شمل ذلك عقودا طويلة من الصراعات والعزلة الدولية بسبب تصنيف السودان كدولة راعية للإرهاب والوضع الأمني الحرج ومؤسسات الحكم الضعيفة من ناحية تقديم الخدمات. تفاقم هذا الوضع الموروث بسبب جائحة كورونا وأدت إلى صعوبات صحية واجتماعية واقتصادية غير مسبوقة وساهمت في خفض النمو في السودان. ورغم ذلك يتوقع الخبراء الاقتصاديين أن يزداد النمو في السودان في عام 22 بناء على حزمة الإصلاحات الاقتصادية الصعبة إلى 3.5. نحن في حكومة السودان الانتقالية اعتمدنا 5 أولويات أساسية للنهوض بالاقتصاد والتحول الديمقراطي، تضمنت التشغيل والتوظيف وتحسين إدارة الهجرة في السودان، وذلك حسب الأولويات الموجودة ومليئة بالتحديات أمام الحكومة الانتقالية. اعتماد السودان أيضا في أولوياته ال5 على تنفيذ السلام والعمل على تنفيذ اتفاق السلام الشامل وتحقيق الأمن والإصلاح الاقتصادي الأمني. وأما فيما يتعلق بالسياسات الخارجية فقد قطعنا شوطا كبيرا لإحداث تغيير جذري في العلاقات مع كل العالم وإعادة تقديم السودان كمنارة للسلام والتغيير والتحول الديمقراطي والاستقرار. الحكومة الانتقالية تؤمن بتطبيق المواثيق الدولية وإقرار العمل اللائق وفقا لمعايير العمل المختلفة التي أقرتها الاتفاقات الدولية وهي حق أساسي من حقوق السودان. نعم، لقد التزم السودان بحماية العمال وضمان كافة حقوقهم دون تعسف أو استغلال والمساواة بينهم دون تمييز نوعي. سيدات والسادة، هنالك مرجعيات تنظم التوظيف وهجرة العمل في السودان، وهي الوثيقة الدستورية تعتبر الإطار الدستوري للتشريعات في السودان. أما التشريعات الدولية والإقليمية والثنائية والبروتوكولات فقد صادق السودان على عدد 19 اتفاقية عمل دولية و11 اتفاقية عمل إقليمية و7 اتفاقات ثنائية و4 بروتوكولات. أيضا هنالك التشريعات الوطنية التي تحكم تنظيم التوظيف والهجرة، منها قانون العمل السوداني لعام 97، لائحة استخدام السودانيين بالخارج لسنة 99، قانون ولائحة استخدام غير السودانيين لسنة 2001، قانون المعاشات والتأمينات السوداني لسنة 2016، قانون تنظيم اللجوء لسنة 2009، قانون الطفل لسنة 2010، وأخيرا قانون الإتجار بالبشر لعام 2014. الحضور الكريم، هنالك تقدم كبير في مجال تنظيم التوظيف وهجرة العمل في السودان، حيث تم إعداد المسودة الأولية للسياسة الوطنية للتشغيل في السودان وبصدد مناقشتها مع أصحاب المصلحة وإجازتها بنهاية 2021 مع إعداد خطة أولويات لمدة عامين. وعلى صعيد آخر تم إعداد المسودة الأولية للسياسة الوطنية لهجرة العمل في السودان، وسيتم مناقشتها وإجازتها وإعداد خطة العمل المصاحبة لها في بداية 2022. أيضا تمت المصادقة على اتفاقيات العمل الدولية، وهي اتفاقية 87 الخاصة بالحرية النقابية، واتفاقية 144 الخاصة بالمشورة السياسية، بالإضافة لبروتوكول العمل الجبري لعام 2014 المكمل لاتفاقية العمل الجبري رقم 29، تعزيزا لحماية العمال المهاجرين خلال عامي 2021. والآن تعمل وزارة العمل والإصلاح الإداري على تكوين لجنة لمواءمة قوانين العمل السودانية مع المعايير الدولية. السيدات والسادة الحضور، يوجد في السودان عدد من الآليات التي تراقب وتتابع حوكمة وهجرة العمل والتوظيف وتوفير فرص العمل اللائق، تتكون من الآتي: المجلس الأعلى للهجرة وضم كل الوزارات الاتحادية ذات الصلة، الآلية الوطنية لحقوق الإنسان وتشمل محور الحقوق الخاصة بالمهاجرين، اللجنة الوطنية للإتجار بالبشر، اللجنة الوطنية لحماية السودانيين بالخارج، مؤسسات التوظيف العامة وتشمل مفوضيات الاختيار للخدمة المدنية بالمركز والولايات، وكالات التوظيف الخاصة وهي وكالات مرخص لها من وزارة العمل والإصلاح الإداري، آليات تفتيش العمل بالمركز والولايات، التقارير الدورية عن أوضاع المهاجرين السودانيين بالخارج والوافدين، بالإضافة إلى التقارير التي ترسل للمؤسسات الدولية المهتمة بشؤون هجرة العمل والمهاجرين. أيضا يوجد أيضا آليات تسوية الشكاوى والمنازعات العمالية بالمركز والولايات، وهي إدارات الشكاوي ومحاكم العمل، وإدارة الأجانب بوزارة الداخلية السودانية. أما على صعيد الأمانة العامة لجهاز شؤون السودانيين العاملين في الخارج، فقد تم بذل جهود لإعداد المواطنين السودانيين الذين يتوقعون الهجرة للعمل من حيث تدريبهم بالتعاون مع الجهات الحكومية المعنية، ويمنح العمال المهاجرين العائدين تأمينا صحيا من أجل تسهيل إعادة الاندماج وتوفير شبكة ضمان اجتماعي، ويتم التخطيط لأنشطة مدرة للدخل للراغبين في القيام بأعمال زراعية صغيرة. كما يوجد دعم لعودة العمالة المهاجرة من حيث الترتيبات الجمركية التي تشجعهم على الاستثمار في مجال الزراعة في السودان. سيدات والسادة، بصفتنا رئيسا لمنظمة الإيجاد، فإننا نعمل ونهتم بتطوير التنسيق بين دول منطقة القرن الأفريقي عبر الاتفاقات الثنائية، ونتطلع للعمل مع الشركاء الإقليميين والدوليين لضمان حماية العمال والمهاجرين. ومن جانب آخر فإننا نلتزم بمواصلة جهودنا في الحكومة الانتقالية لضمان الالتزام بكل ما دار في هذه الاجتماعات في اليومين السابقين واليوم، ونؤكد على التزامنا بالديكلاريشن تمت الموافقة عليه من جميع الوزراء، وأيضا نواصل في عملنا كحكومة انتقالية في إحداث التحول الاجتماعي والسياسي والاقتصادي ببلادنا. سنعتمد تحسين حوكمة هجرة الأيادي العاملة وتعزيز فرص العمل اللائق وحماية العمال المهاجرين. نشكر لكم حسن استماعكم وشكرا جزيلا. Lucy? Okay, I introduce Lucy for the other program.
Excellency, the Chair of Igad, thank you very much for presiding over the just concluded session. Excellency, by your guidance, you requested me to facilitate the signature of Igad member states, the signature of the Ministers of Labor on the declaration. The Secretariat would like to inform you that we have the French version and the English version according to the Igad rules of procedure, and therefore we shall request you to sign in signature, but also to initial on all the pages of the declaration. So you will bear with us, it will take some time, but I would like to be guided where I can start from. Shall I start from the high table? And then I will go through the alphabetical order until I will conclude with the Republic of Uganda. Thank you for your guidance, Excellency Executive Secretary and Chair of Igad. I would like to request the Honorable Ministers of Labor to come to the high table. I would also like to invite the representatives of Igad member states who are here to also come to the high table. I would like to request my colleagues of Igad Secretariat to support with more chairs. I think we need, Robert, we need an additional chair, 2 more chairs. Yemi, can we also have the flags, all the flags of Igad on the high table? Please, delegations, can you also have the pens with the honorable ministers? Please put the flags for the countries. Remove that. No, remove. We are just organizing the flag. Put only the flags. Experts, please, leaders of foreign affairs officials, make sure your ministers have pens for signing the declaration. Can you just ensure that we have pens with the honorable ministers? I would like to request the distinguished delegates on the floor to step back from the high table. Please, whoever is on the floor, step back because we are live streaming the event. Please step back behind the cameras. Excuse me. Please step back behind the cameras so that we can continue the live streaming. Comrades, please step back to the behind the cameras. Congratulations, Your Excellency, Madam Chair, Republic of Sudan. Congratulations to all the ministers of labor of Igad member states. Congratulations to His Excellency, the Executive Secretary of Igad, Dr. Orkene Gebeyehu. Congratulations to a distinguished team of experts led by Madam Fatia Loan, the Director of Social Affairs of Igad, and congratulations to His Excellency Alexio Musindo, the ILO Regional Director, who leads a team of labor specialists who have been the technical agency for the preparation of this declaration. Congratulations to all the distinguished experts of Igad member states who have spent several months preparing themselves towards this declaration. Also, congratulations to the Igad partners present, notably the European Union, who have supported this process. And congratulations to the citizens of Igad, who are going to see good governance of labor employment, as well as labor migration. I thank you.
Now, we thank everybody, the ministries, experts, the media, all people in the hall. Thank you very much for very intensive and very successful meeting. Thank you.
Excellencies and distinguished delegates, I would like to make a very important announcement. The Igad Secretariat with ILO welcome you warmly to a lunch at the restaurant of Kempinski. Distinguished delegates, excellencies, please, we would like to invite you for lunch. Please, this is an announcement from the Honorable Minister of Labor, Republic of Djibouti, that the Honorable Ministers of Igad member states are joining him, and he's invited you to Atta. Please stay here, Honorable Ministers, because you are going to Atta. Atta is a little bit outside